Welcome, everybody. Jen just reminded me to press record, so I've been talking for a minute, but it's okay. It's all good. What we're going to do to get started today is we're just going to evoke the infinity wave for a minute, and we're going to allow ourselves this this extraordinary connection and love and compassion as the backdrop for our spending time together. So I want to invite you all to close your eyes for a minute if you like, keep them open if you like, but the most important thing is that you just begin to breathe deeply. And for those of you who don't know the origin, just keep breathing deeply. And if you already know the infinity wave, just start visualizing it. For those of you who don't know what it is at all, the infinity wave, Patricia's holding it up right there. That's a sticker that was created by Hope Fitzgerald from the Wave Energy Center for Conscious Evolution. And starting in 2011, Hope, who is a gifted dazzler, oh, look, Marcia is showing her infinity wave water bottle. She's got the sticker right on the bottle. Hold it a little higher, Marcia. There you go. Perfect. And then the stones too, those stones. I'll tell you guys about those stones. So starting in 2011, Hope started getting these channelings and these visions, and she saw this wall of water coming to earth, and she's like, okay, what do I do with that? And then it began to take shape as a wave, and then she began to be told to create space in her life to give workshops. And keep breathing deeply. It looks like Bill's taking me up on the breathing. Love you for that, brother. Yeah, breathing. So to be doing workshops, and she's like, well, what am I going to be teaching? And her guide said, don't worry, just set up the workshop. And then Hope began to learn what I'm going to spend a moment guiding you in right now. So picture this wall of water that we've just been shown twice, this figure 8 of water, and picture it crossing. The midpoint of it is your heart, and the lower point of it goes all the way down and goes through the earth. And so send this wave of water down through the earth, and all the layers of miraculousness that are in the earth, and all those crystals and stones and rocks and dirt and animals and energies that we don't even know about. And it's dragging through all of that. And then it's circling down in the earth, and then it's coming up and it's crossing through your heart. And then it's going up to the ethers and making the same size loop up in the ethers. And so up to the celestial bodies and the spiritual realms and the light and airy. And just get this wall of water going. And as you feel it, and keep breathing deeply and having it crossing your heart, just notice the pace and the speed that feels right for you. And we'll all just do this infinity wave together for a minute or two while I tell you a little bit more about Hope and this infinity wave. So it's a 10th dimensional energetic. It carries love and compassion, and it has the ability to shift 3D reality. So when you take this energy and you allow it right now to keep crossing at your heart and going all the way up, coming down and crossing through your heart and going down and then coming back up, you are dragging the universe for love and compassion, and then you're bringing that through you. And for me, when I do that, I feel mellow, I feel warm, I feel happy, I feel calm, and hopefully you feel some of that. When I first learned the infinity wave, I like to visualize it as glasses. I put on my infinity wave shades, and that was a really poignant way for me to feel it. You can send it heart to heart to another human being, or you can wear it as glasses. You can do it up into the sky and down into the earth. You can do whatever you want with it. So around 2016 or 17, we started selling VitaJewel bottles, and Hope had always been looking for a way to manifest the infinity wave physically so that we could tangibly get it into people's lives, like the stickers that Marcia and Patricia held up. And so there's the sticker again. So we started to, we made wallpaper that could go as an image on your desktop. And then we made these stickers, and we made a bottle. And I didn't know that much about crystal water bottles at the time. And I was like, wait a minute, we're going to make a crystal water bottle and it's going to carry the infinity wave. I'm like, okay, like I need some guidance here. Like I need some support to know that this journey is true. And we did it. We doused. We doused on the percentage of the rocks, the minerals that would go in it. And we made the blend and they made up a batch of them and we put them in our warehouse. And a customer called and I got the call and I was on the phone with them looking at our website. And the person guided me to the Infinity Wave page. Now, she said, now what's this Infinity Wave bottle? I don't understand what this is. And I pulled the page up and I felt the energy of the Infinity Wave wash over me from pulling the page up. And I was like, oh my God, we did it. We got the energy of the Infinity Wave into this bottle. And so now I love seeing people using those bottles because every time you fill it up, you fill that water bottle with love and compassion that then becomes you and washes through you and is you. And I just think that's a really nice way to start a meeting. So thank you for the deep breathing and for bringing that into existence. Does anybody want to unmute for a second and share anything that they felt while experiencing this infinity wave? So it's not just me talking about it. It's helpful to hear your voices too. Who wants to say something about feeling the infinity wave?
All I know is that when I envision the infinity wave and when I see it on my water bottle, my own vibration is raised so high that it lifts everything around me up with it.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, Brandon, why don't you say something about what our time was like over the weekend when we grounded it in the infinity wave? Like, what was that experience for you?
It was very connecting, and it's just definitely brought a level of peace that that's hard to obtain without that doing the infinity wave, and the connectedness that it helped us feel all of our, at least for me, feel connected to you and to Michelle, and just like I said, a peace just came over, and it just was very refreshing and grounding.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. So you guys, we had a recent breath session with Tara Nieves, and now we're talking about the infinity wave. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about a shaman that Jen has introduced me to, and something that I've been using in that realm. And the point here is, to whatever gradient works for you, find things that you can evoke that bring you to calm, that bring you to love, that bring you to warmth and openness. You know, I've relocated onto the farm that I was on in March. I'm about an hour from Asheville, and there's no cell phone signal on this property. The only way I get connected, if I disappear, it's meant to be. Like, there's one router and I'm in the woods, and if that router stops working, see you later, alligator. I'm not coming back. Like, I mean, maybe, but it takes like 10 minutes to reboot. It's one router, that's my connection. And so being out here, like, the calmness is just extraordinary. My first night here, like, my thought was, I feel safe. It's not a thought I have very often. Wow, I feel safe. That's a really nice thing. So whatever we can do to be evoking this, I want to start today by, it's been a while, there's been time for reflection. I want to start by evoking this together. Okay. So, you know, I'm in this inquiry about, can I show up loving and peaceful with whatever shows up in my life? And the last couple of months, there've been some really deep patterns showing up. And Shira just sent me a private message saying that she likes the new, slender, light and younger Patrick. Thanks, Shira. I appreciate that. I'm down about 40 pounds from a year and a half ago. So I lost a lot of weight, and it feels good. Definitely feels good. So these patterns are coming up, and the big one is I really got that my nervous system was formed inside of my mom's predominant state of feeling was panic and terror. And so what did I feel? But panic and terror. And, one of the speakers I've been listening to is a guy named Kyle Cease. And what he talks about is that these patterns that we show up to teach us unconditional love, and that, they're trauma and we want to heal them, but we don't get to say how or when. Like, we can bring our intention to it, but we don't get to say when the cycle's over, or, how long it goes. But what we can do is look at the amazing gifts that come from it. So the gift of panic and terror has been to give me heightened awareness, right? Because I'm like turning everywhere, wondering like who's gunning for me, because I'm in panic and terror. And that made me really competitive. And so inside of being aware, like, there were always guys on the tennis court or the football field who were like a foot taller than me. And I was like, it doesn't matter how big they are, they're going down. Because I was they were probably just like practicing their strokes, just like trying to hit the ball. And I'm like, it's life and death. It's like, if I lose this point, like, I'm gonna die. Like, that's a feeling of panic and terror. And so, I have this like long history of conquering people who had what appeared to be a lot more physical gifts than I did, or a lot more resources coming into something than I did. And so that was part of the gift. But then when it really turns into a gift, this is when it really gets somewhere. It's like when I've achieved and achieved and achieved and achieved and achieved and achieved, I got this great track record of achievement. And then I see through that the achievement doesn't make me any better. And the achievement doesn't fulfill me. And it's when I actually take the time to contemplate the courage of my spirit, and that I just keep showing up and doubling down on love in my life, and that has become my pursuit and my inquiry, and that I play games now. Like, raising 4 kids has been like the most fun thing with regard to all this competition, because when they were young, I was still working out being competitive with my kids. I mean, that's what my dad showed me. It's kind of a tough model. But as they aged, I actually realized that I love it when they win. And so we'd sit down with a game, like a board game or something, and I'd teach them. I'm like, here are all the rules of this board game. And then here are all the things that you can do that are beyond the rules, that you can do to like bend somebody to cause them to lose to you. That's not part of the game, but it's part of like playing mind games with people. And then these are all the ninja, dirty, deep down tricks dad knows that dad'll pull on you to beat you. And so I taught my 4 kids how to play with all those sets of rules. And then as they got older, they would start to, and I've never lose to my kids on purpose. Like, if they beat me legit. And then as they got older, they'd start to beat me, and I would applaud. I was like so excited that they learned all the realms. And I started to realize I get more excited now about coaching somebody to beat me at something than I do about actually beating somebody at something. So it's been fascinating. There's a guy at the pickleball courts who is the unhealed version of me. And so he blusters and mind controls, and he goes and gets his towel and delays the game. Anytime you get a few points against him, he goes and delays it. And I just keep watching all that and noticing. And so I'm really tuned into what's our nervous system like. So my visit with Brandon this weekend. I keep saying Brandon instead of Brandon and Michelle because it was like more intense, like Brandon time. Michelle was like such a support for the two of us, really, really deeply bonding. But let me share with you that Michelle is a fabulous photographer. Like she took a bunch of photos. I got like 8 keepers of my dog and of waterfall and of me and of Brandon. And it was amazing. But Brandon and I had more hours of like interacting. And one of the things is that this property, their aqua energizer didn't get installed when they bought it 11 months ago. They didn't hire a plumber. They had a friend come and he glued some things on that, as it turned out, leaked. And it just wasn't, nobody was getting it done. It turns out that Brandon's a pretty handy guy and he has some experience. So he helped me, he installed the device. And we first put in the one that's been here for 11 months. And because of the glue somebody had put on, it didn't work. So we had to take it back out and put in a new one. We went out to the truck and Brandon was like hopping all over the truck like a little boy. Like he's like all pumped up and he's like grabbing this tool and grabbing that tool. And I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? And he's like, yeah, sure. I was like, I've been watching you on the calls for a bunch of months and you're like deep, grounded, calm. Like I feel our friendship is based in those energies. And I see you hopping around and I recognize you because I bing you. Do you think there's any chance that rather than installing this device from the energy of our friendship, you've actually got some sort of surrogate thing going on where you're trying to please me and I'm playing the role of a parent or some role model that you've had in the past? And what'd you say, Brandon?
Pretty much that you hit the nail on the head on that.
Right? Just hit the nail on the head. And it takes one to know one, right? So like I've got that capacity in me to become this affected guy who goes around trying to do something because I'm trying to please the person that I'm with. And so in that one instance of that insight, this friendship that I've had online with Brandon for a couple of years took a layer of depth in person. And as we spent more time together, we started to realize that our nervous systems have an enormous amount in common. And so I wanted to bring that to you guys today because we all adapt to the world in different ways. And yeah, Shara says that people pleasing sucks. Been there, done that. We really want to take care of the people around us. And we just want to. We want everybody to be happy around us. And sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're conflicted and we have to learn how to separate and individuate and be who we truly are. And so, you know, inside this deep in the world friendship I have with Brandon now, there's an inquiry that I'm in. Like Brandon and Michelle are humble, beautiful, God-loving people. They on a daily basis do everything, in fact, an hourly and minute basis. They do everything they can to bring forth their understanding of God. And inside of that, they will yield to a strong perspective from another person. So if I say, hey, do you guys want to do this with a strong energy, they'll say yes. Like, as long as it's not like really giving themselves up, they will say yes. But if it's a little bit giving themselves up, they will also say yes. And so there's an inquiry that's been raised in our friendship that's like, I want authentically them, not Patrick pleasing them, right? That's who I want to be friends with. And I want them to feel safe inside of our relationship to know what feels right to them. And I don't know, this is why it's an inquiry. I don't know what is the manifestation of a really loving embodiment of God from them that really yields to people around them and has other people exert their will and they're comfortable with it, compared to when is somebody being dominating and taking advantage of that energy in them, right? One of the things that we talked about is that energy vampires will take people who are kind like this and target them and suck their energy. So all of this has become fodder for the friendship. So now it's an inquiry where I get to share how I feel and they get to share how they feel, and we get to create life and connection together. And for me, creating that life and connection is happening outside of that panic and terror that I used to feel. Like it feels to me like an authentic expression of me engaged in the world, not like I know what everything is, or I know what the truth is, or that I'm fixed in any given way, but then I'm actually in an inquiry. And so, Brandon, I don't know if you got anything to share. It's wonderful seeing you, Michelle, there, but do you want to deepen any of the distinctions around the nervous system or the patterns that we uncovered, if you have something to add?
Just realizing how imprinted and conditioned neuro pathways and ways of thinking are so difficult to change at times, and it's a daily and sometimes minute by minute thing of being mindful of those new neuro pathways that I'm in the process of creating and making, hopefully designing to be able to be the primary neuro pathways to overtake the ones that were conditioned from trauma or whatever else may have created them. So
Yeah.
it was definitely a beautiful energy that we shared together.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, that right there is one of the reasons that Brandon is like a friend for me now, is like I notice how people show up in the world now more than I ever have before, with more discernment. And this guy consistently, no matter what comes up between us, if it shakes him or hits a place where he has a wound or makes him uncomfortable in any way, you watch him, he'll take a breath and he'll end up in a statement about working on a new neural pathway that's chosen, rather than the one that was imprinted when he wasn't aware, rather than the one that was unconsciously imprinted. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I could never have too many friends like that. You know, like that to me, that's character. That's depth. And that's what I want to surround myself with. Speaking of surrounding yourself with, so Brandon is with Michelle on a road trip, and they've left North Carolina heading west with Arizona as their target. And one of the things that I model in this community is this crazy freedom to just go wherever I'm supposed to be. And then you all show up with these unbelievable invitations, and I like show up on your doorstep and then I stay. You know, and we live life for a meal or sometimes a month. I've done it all. So if anybody is on that rough route and they are contemplating more connection in their life, you can send a message to Jen or myself, and we'll get you connected to Brandon and Michelle, and you can invite them over. You guys can have like a real world conversation, like, hey, what are you up to? You know, do you need a place to stay? What kind of food do you eat? How long would it be good to visit for? And you can say like an hour, you know, or like a dinner, or come stay with me. You got to figure that out yourselves. But I think, you know, to actually know that another of us is on a road trip the way I've been on road trips, and that you guys might actually have in the world meetings. You can see I'm just smiling talking about it. Like, it just makes me really, really happy. So see if maybe some of you need or want to commune with them. And also, it's good for you to know that Brandon brings a lifetime of skill around being a handyman, and he's also done things with electrical and plumbing. And those are skills that go with him everywhere he goes. And so I envision in the future Brandon's connection more and more with the wellness enterprise, and him being more of a resource for people around the physical manifestation of things. So anyway, they're on a road trip, and I wanted to make sure that you guys know that. Okay, so some deep stuff about the nervous system. And
Before we start, I just wanted to say one thing, Patrick.
yeah,
I put in the chat. Michelle and Brandon are on my morning meditation call every single morning, 7 days a week, from 7:45 to 8:15. And people are welcome to join us. We do it every single day, 7 days a week. And just come on. There's the link right there, and you'll get to see Michelle. Well, you won't see, but you'll hear Michelle and Brandon and me and the whole crew.
the Golden Girls, I heard.
Well, Brandon is the one. He's the only male energy in the whole thing, so we just love having him.
That's awesome. Brandon or Michelle, would one of you take a minute to tell us why you show
Hello,
why you show
thank
up?
you.
I got you, Dorothy. We're going to give you a little mute. Brandon and Michelle, would you take a minute to tell us why you show up every morning for Patricia's call? Like, you're obviously getting something from it to show up day after day. And we know Patricia's inspiring, but I want to hear from you guys.
We show up every morning because it's a beautiful energy with everybody on there, and just stopping to take the time to give ourselves, give our soul and spirit attention, and just manifesting and that light, and just desiring to let that light expand and radiate more and more from us, and taking the time every morning just to set aside to do that. And everybody on there is just so beautiful, and it's just a really wonderful energy.
It's great. Well, I love that you guys are cultivating community together. And for anybody who watches a recording, if there's something mentioned that's in the chat that you can't get access to, just send an email to support@thewellnessenterprise.com or we@lavanya.com, and we'll be happy to respond back with the information that you need.
By the way, the meditation is called Growing the Light of Our Soul and Spirit Meditation.
I wouldn't expect anything less than you, Patricia. That sounds just perfect. So just like the infinity wave that we just did, you know, here's a way to join something on a daily basis that will help uplift you and keep you in the energy of creating the life you want. So thank you for hosting that, Patricia, and for holding that energy. So on the nervous system stuff, any questions or comments? Does anybody want to take a look at that a little deeper? I'll say one more thing while you think about if you have anything to say, which is, since I've tuned into this and seen myself coming from panic and terror, it seems that my ability to have insight into my friends and like where they're coming from, it is really heightened. And so if you find yourself struggling around with this and it's like rattling for you, call me. I'll do what I can to help you see it. But basically, you know, the way it looks is, if you're constantly in self-doubt from a certain way of being, you can see yourself in the world, you know, like I've always been like a seeker, seeking because I'm not enough, right? And there's a pressure on the other side from the beginning of when we were formed. And if we can turn to that pressure and see it and acknowledge it and name it, I think it's an element of putting it down and having the opportunity to create differently. And that's why I share these things so vulnerably with you guys, is so that, like, if one of you gets at what's been driving you nuts and finds more freedom, makes me feel like my life is worthwhile. You know? Okay, cool. Anybody questions or comments about the nervous system thing before we try the next topic? Yeah, Justin, you jumping in?
Yeah, hi, everyone. Justin Elledge here.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just saw the email, so I thought I'd jump on as quickly as I could. It's always nice to have live meditations, but as you're all connected to Patrick, and Patrick is like family to me, anyone that would be interested, I will be happy to send you an empowered and enlivened meditation, which is the Chakra Fire meditation, which I created. And it's something you can listen to in your own time. It's worked miracles for many. And so to build on that, again, this would be my gift to the group. Just, send me an email that doesn't go on a list or anything. And I'd be happy to send it to you. This is something I used to present on when I was doing telesummits. And I just think it's helped so many people, and I've had so many responses and testimonials about how it's engaged the heart, the mind, the body, and the spirit, and so much more. So again, because of Patrick, I'm offering this to everyone.
That's very.
And I would very much like that, because with me having shingles, which is totally the nervous system, I could very much use that. That would be very, very helpful. Thank you, Justin. Are you going to post that?
Yeah, I'm just putting up an email where you can contact me. It's thehumanmri@gmail.com. I'm also a medical intuitive, and I work with people on all these different levels. And it's been a real pleasure to have met Patrick last year and moving forward. So again, I just thought, oh, what the heck? I'm being inspired and go with spirit. And so everyone on the call, feel free to contact me via my email, which I'll put in the chat box, which is thehumanmri@gmail.com. And I will send you the audio. It's about 45 minutes. And I do caution you, do not do it while you're driving. Do not do it if you have any other plans that night. But when you're really wanting to go deep, this is one that people have had phenomenal breakthroughs.
That's beautiful. Thank you for the generosity of your spirit, Justin, and for your service to our community. This is what this emerging Lavanya is all about, is us sharing the resources with each other that help each other create the world we want to live in, or deepen the distinctions of the world we want to live in. Okay, anybody else about the nervous system? Questions, comments, before I go to my next topic? So the next topic for me is awe, A-W-E, awe. It's awe at the dedication and the relentlessness of our Creator. And I have a memory of being 26, and I was a stockbroker. I was wearing a suit and those type of shoes that really don't support you. And I was told that if I placed a trade to buy 1,000 shares of a stock in the next minute, I would get paid $250. And I don't know the exact circumstances of whether I put it in 1 minute and 4 seconds, or I put it in 45 seconds, but whatever the exact timing was, I got paid $62.50 instead of $250. And so I called the guy who was the trader, and I was like, you said 250. And he's like, well, it moved, like, tough luck. And I punched a wall, and I ran out the door of the stock brokerage office in my suit with these uncomfortable shoes. And I sprinted fast, as far as it took for me to not be crazed with anger anymore. And then I went back to work. And that's how easy it was to get me angry, right? Like, the universe could be like, dude, you got a little bit of fear there, or a little bit of anger there. I'm going to tickle you and you're going to go crazy. And so I've done a lot. That was half a life ago. I'm 52 now. And I've done a lot of work coming to grips with anger. I've seen anger in a lot of ways. And, I remember the last time I like engaged in a road rage like behavior. And I think the other guy was like 80. And I took it like he was mafia. And I took it like the way I finally got away from being ensnarled with this guy going like 95 miles per hour on I-95, like 1 foot away from each other, is I finally got behind him, and right as he got a little bit too far to go on the on-ramp, I pulled into an on-ramp going 95 miles an hour to get off the highway and get away from this guy. And I was like, wow, like not doing that again. But I still had instances where anger could come up through traffic and road rage and these kind of things. And then, I don't really have access to that stuff anymore. Like if the universe wants to like pull anger out of me, those pathways they're closed up, like I lived them in earnest. And, I used to split a lot of wood with a lot of anger. Remember that, Jen? Oh my gosh, we'd have days where I showed up to work at TWE and we'd send me home. Be like, sorry, like you don't get to work at TWE today. TWE is a company that shares love in the world, and you're being a prick. You're not being love. So you can go outside and split wood, but you can't work at TWE until you get over yourself. And I would go outside and split wood for a couple hours until I just banged all that anger out of my body. So I've been feeling pretty good. Like I don't get blindsided by anger much. And so the other day I went for a hike, and with no warning and no awareness, didn't even see it happen, I got stung. And stings for me have ranged between life-threatening experiences and I had one earlier this year with nanosoma that it literally, like, I got stung, I put nanosoma on it, I never felt it. It was unbelievable. And so I got stung, and it was right, oh, you can still see it, it was right here. And this swelled up this way by like 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch. And I turned red from there all the way down my torso to both knees. And I turned red like a cooked lobster, and I swelled. And some of the welts were like about as thick as a nickel. And I was with Nico, and all I wanted to do was run back to the house. I have an EpiPen here. I've never used it. And Nico was like, yeah, we're not going to run right now. We're just going to take some deep breaths. And I was like, well, like I might die. It's like, yeah, I don't think you're going to die. Let's just take some deep breaths. And so we started doing emotional work. And Nico's goal, he told me later, was simply to interrupt the pattern of my responding with panic to my external world. That was his goal. Just don't let me panic it. Like I can do whatever I need to do, but just don't do panic. So I didn't really get it until the next day, when the red stayed for a really long time and the swelling on the arm stayed for 3 days. It hurt. And I got that was the release of anger from inside of me. Like I was carrying all that redness and all that heat and all that anger, but I couldn't get it out because I'm not as reactive anymore to the road rage or the transaction not going the way I wanted to, or somebody not giving me what I want, or these type of things. I mean, they don't really make me angry anymore. If they make me angry, it's at a level of subdued that's beyond my conscious awareness. And so I'm just like wearing it in my physiology, but I don't know that I'm doing it. And so this bee came along, or this wasp, whatever it was, and it really got me. And then over the next couple of days, it was easier for me to get at anger. And I'm just in awe of it. Like Like this benevolent universe is so dedicated to our healing that when we get to the point of getting through something and getting to another stage, it'll find a different way to show us the residual. And so, so that was pretty impressive for me. You know, I can learn about anger on the pickleball court, and I can learn about anger, you know, driving a car. But, you know, I'd even go so far as to say that this universe is so benevolent that a number of years ago, because I was never allergic to bees or wasps growing up, a number of years ago, it became an allergy. And then that allergy became ready for that hike and that bug. Wow. Right. And so now the goal, the next time my external world threatens my internal world, the goal is to just breathe. That's the goal. You know, just show up and breathe. So, so everything's really connected, and yeah, I'm in awe of it all. All right, moving on to sunlight. So I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about themselves this way, but I like talking about myself this way, which is if I were a month, I'd be February. And I know without a doubt, I would be February. And well, maybe it's changing now. It might be. This could be the conversation where it changes. We'll see. So what makes me February? Like if you go to the structured water world, most of you know me through the structured water world, that's a great place to examine it. So Clayton Nolte, who invented the devices for natural action technologies, for me, he is December 21st or close to there. What that means is it's dark, it's an inward journey, there's no company, and everything is at bare, like a seed is just a dry seed. It's not beginning to come out of its seed. It's not growing anything. It's just the potential of a seed sitting there. If you're in the dungeon on December 21st, you are in the basic lowest level of discovery and the future emergence of something. So he created a structured water device, and he tinkered around in January, and he figured out how to manufacture it and to make enough of them that could get out to the world so that somebody like me could come along and sell them. And so by the time February comes around, you can, when I was living in Hull, Massachusetts, I lived in a house with a sunroom, and that's where I kept my office. And so I was very keenly aware of where the sun set every day for the entire year, and that there were days, weeks, and months where there was a lot of sun, and I would pull blinds. And then there were days where the sun would barely get up on the horizon. You know, it'd be much lower, and I'd be like pulling as much sun to me as possible. And the reason I like February so much is that when February comes, it's unmistakable, particularly by the second and third week, the third week really, that it's getting brighter. And so I'm the guy that, like, when I was, I'll jump industries now, when I was in the stock market, I never tried to pick a stock that was at the bottom. I didn't try to go into December 21st and say, this is the value stock. It can't go lower than here. The sum of the pieces are worth more than this price. It has to go up. Not me. What would happen is it would start to go up, and then it would start to climb. And by the second, third week of February, it's starting to get attention. And I'd be like, this is the one, guys, this is the one, jump in, jump in. And some of them would turn the other way and go back to January. I'd cut them out. No big deal. You lose a little bit, no big deal. But some of them would rocket from the middle of February to June 21st. And I just that energy, when the buds come out in the spring and things pop and the colors are the brightest, and it just feels like the earth is just like birthing a baby. Living at that house in Hull, Massachusetts, it felt like there were like 2 days every spring where like the flowers and the colors and the leaves on the trees would pop so much that I could just spend those 2 days like watching nature. Like it felt like the birth of a baby. So I've always loved that. And I loved it so much that around June 1st every year, I'd start to get a little depressed. I'd get disappointed. I'm like, oh no, you know what June 1st means? Patricia's nodding her head. She knows the 21st is coming. The expansion's going to stop. Oh no, please don't stop the expansion, I would say. You know, like, can we go back to February and just go from February to June, February to June, February to June? And like all that energy and intensity has been a real match for who I've been till now. And what I realized, Labor Day has always been a kind of an important point of the year for me. What I realized this week was not only did I not get upset when June 21st came and went this year, and that's been getting better the last couple of years, but here I am sitting on Labor Day going into the dark quarter of the year, and I'm changing my context to actually get excited about the depth of the bottom on December 21st in terms of light and what that means for going inward as a part of the seesaw that has June 21st on the other side that I love so much. And so February through June grows that light. Well, Labor Day to December 21st grows my depth, my darkness, my individuality, my introspection, my going within. And so I just made a choice about where I'm going to spend this autumn and winter. And I chose the woods an hour from Asheville in a place that is going to be dark and rainy and nasty. And there are not going to be a lot of people around. Like, it's going to be like a lot of me, myself, and I. And so I'm setting up some practices to really begin to open those distinctions. And one of them is that my bed is set up so that there's a mirror at the foot of my bed. And so I am either working in this space or I'm working over on the bed. And what I've been doing is consciously looking at the mirror and loving on myself. Like, this is going to be a winter of going within. I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to love myself. Like, we're going to do this right. So I've never been this guy going into the dungeon before. I've never had all the tools and resources that I have now to go into this dungeon, but I'm actually really excited about it because I know it's going to be a transformative season. All right, so a quick announcement for those who may or may not be aware yet or might not be tracking on these channels. Lavanya has its own YouTube channel distinct from the Wellness Enterprise now. And it also has a BitChute channel. And we're choosing BitChute because it appears that they're not going to do as much censorship in the future as Google does, and Google owns YouTube. So censorship there is pretty solid. So I invite you to consider getting on BitChute. Oh, look at that, Jen just put a link to our BitChute channel. I invite you to get familiar with getting on BitChute because I think you'll get more uncensored information. And if you're only going to follow Lavanya in one place, follow it on BitChute, because we're just doing the YouTube as an echo right now because YouTube hasn't censored us at this stage, but someday they might, and we'll just fold it up. But BitChute's going to be where we're going to go. And Lavanya is going to generate a lot more content than the Wellness Enterprise ever did. You know, the Wellness Enterprise was talking about the energy of water, and you know, I made a couple hundred videos on that right now. Part of the reason we don't have a weekly water video is I don't know what to say anymore. The BitChute is limitless. So we have tons of people who are coming together around Lavanya, and they're going to be putting a lot of content forth that makes a difference. And I love the emergence of things on this call, like Justin's contribution and Patricia's contribution and the infinity wave. Like, this is what it's all about. It's being in community together, surrounding ourselves with harmonic energies that we build a life of love. So yeah, Lavanya started as a commerce thing where we're going to define products around love rather than profit. And now we're finding out, well, it's really the ways of being around love that are the parts that are easiest at the beginning to get going. So that's what we've been working on. All right, pausing for a second, see if anybody has a question or anything they want to jump in about. So what's coming up over the next couple of months is I've been engaging with some really great people, and I've been learning really important lessons, and I've been holding space for those people to come forth offering products and services. Like, I want to say it differently, to become community around Lavanya. And I thought when we started that was products and services, and products and services are a really great place to define a loving world, because part of the way the world messes with us right now is that they keep sending money into the same places. And those places just make the billionaires richer, and they're not really helping all the people. So if we can do commerce in a way that we're sending money into a more loving world, I think that's a smart way to do it. So if we could just get lots of transactions on Lavanya. Anyway, we have a lot of practitioners who are coming. And for those of you who didn't get to see some of the ones we did over the last few months, like Tara Nieves and her breath work, Tara is all in on marrying our community, like becoming part of our loving community and our offerings. For those of you who haven't yet taken advantage of the Susie Byler offering, like, Susie's guided sessions are extraordinary. I think most everyone here has done a human design with Laura. Like, there was a lot of people who did that. If you haven't done that, that's a wonderful thing to do. Nico's going to be, yeah, 2 thumbs up from Patricia. She did it. Yes. And Nico's going to be deepening his offerings around emotions. And so that's coming too. And then, we have other people that were on the cusp of announcing that I'm feeling like, given that we're at about an hour and how much we've done, we'll just wait till next week. And instead of just giving a glossy level of things, I'll actually bring somebody on with me as my guest next week. I think that there's maturity now in some of these conversations that somebody's going to be ready for next week. Every week I keep thinking I'm going to have a guest, and it's like, no, it's not ready. And if it's not ready, it's not ready. But Jen's been doing an amazing job of taking care of the Lavanya website and making sure that things get up quickly. Like, she's really morphed her roles and responsibilities in the last few months, and she's doing awesome with regard to getting things up. Yeah, kudos to Jen, and thank goodness, because it takes a team. Yeah, Jen just put a link to the current services that we have offered through Lavanya, and we feel really great about what's available there. One thing that's new is, I think is new since we met as a community, is that I'm offering personal coaching. And there's 2 aspects to that. One is, I don't really like, I get, you all know that, like, if you go through a hard spot in your life, or something's like hard to work out, like I'll jump in and talk that through with you like 10 out of 10 times. And I love doing that, but offering that through a coaching product hasn't felt good to me. And I think what's changed a little bit is that when people are for real about wanting to create a more loving life for themselves or a more loving expression of business in the world, that's what really interests me. And it's appropriate to let them know if that's what you're up to, then I can be hired, right? Like I can meet you in that. And we've just started a new thing, which is for entrepreneurs. If people have a loving business that's intended to make a difference for people on the planet, and they need help with business strategy and business support services, we're really good at that. So we're making that available at a greatly reduced price so that we can help more people create more loving businesses. I guess it's our way of giving back to sacred commerce. So that's a new one that we have. And then, you know, there's other theirs. So thank you for the message from Melinda. I guess it's pretty cool when somebody loses a bunch of weight and takes on a new level of health. It's inspiring. And you know, there's something I want to share with you guys about that, which is I've lost 40 pounds. I lost the first 15 pounds eating beef 6 or 7 times a week and drinking broth almost every day and eating vegetables and kind of being keto oriented. And then I was like stable, down 15 for a little while. And then I wholeheartedly and like on a dime switched and went all in on fruit and vegetables for like 4 months and dropped 25 more pounds. And now I'm back to a blend where it's like fruit in the morning and then some days of the week, beef and vegetables in the evening, and some days of the week, just vegetables. And so a lot more balance. And so it feels like the whole of it is saying, listen to your guidance, not follow one diet. Right. So, you know, the people who coached, loved, and supported me around the beef-based diet are, you know, medical professionals and, you know, very strong in their knowledge and knowing of the way that supports a body. And then, you know, the fruit and the fruit and the vegetables was from an equally strong place. And yet somehow they blend together to be my guidance. And I'm not any one thing. I'm just meeting each day with as much love and peace as I can summon and eating as well as I can and figuring out what that means. So I'm excited that it's September and I'm excited to see you all again. And I'm intending to show up every Tuesday at 3, and I'm intending that Spirit provides me with a lot of content to bring, and I don't know what I'm bringing next Tuesday. So we'll see, you know, how it gets delivered and what happens next. But that's what I've got for today. So if anybody wants to jump in with a question or a comment, you're all welcome. Thank you for being here, Justin. It's a privilege to have you and teach people more about who you are in the near future. Maybe we can catch up again later today or tomorrow. Spend some time together. Thank you guys for the encouragement for the weekly calls. It's very fulfilling for me to be together. It means a lot. You know, sometimes I didn't know it until some of you went away for a while, and I tracked you down. Like, where are you? Like, come back. Like, it matters. So you guys matter to me. You guys make this fulfilling for me, and you guys make my life full and warm and loving. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I appreciate that we get to have such a real conversation. And I guess this is where we wrap for next week, but next week, I mean, this is where we wrap for this week, and next week will be great. We'll show up and be great week after week. That's the plan. So
Thank you, Patrick. We love you.
thanks. Love you too. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Week.
All right, bye.
Bye, honey. Bye-bye.